Okay, so at this stage, I'm going to attach the switch for the LED onto the clock, on the back of the clock, just to hide it. So I don't want to see I don't want the switch to be a major part of the design. So I'm just going to chisel out a little section at the back of it for where the switch is going to go. This is just a sliding switch. So to start with, I'm going to use the switch as basically like a template for the size. So if I place the switch where I want it to be located, just flat down, and then I'm going to put a little dot on either side of the switch, just to make sure I get the right width. Make sure your pencil is nice and sharp. Okay, now I want the switch to be placed upright, so I need on the width of the switch to chisel out. So I'm placing the switch straight up so I can work out how deep the switch needs to be. I'm just going to mark off with a line across where I want to chisel, and then I'm going to mark a line across for the width. Okay, a bit difficult to see because obviously it's a black surface, but basically there's a little rectangle on the edge of the piece of timber. Now I'm going to clamp down the stand to the table with the G clamp to make sure it doesn't move around, because when you're chiseling you've got to make sure it's firmly in position. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down firmly with the bevel on the inside, the bit that I want to remove. So the flat side of the chisel wants to be on the outside, So bevel on the waist side. You just push down firmly all the way around. And then if you position it in the middle of the section you want to remove, hit down about 3 times firmly. And this is on the edges actually, just to start with. So you 3 times on the edges, then you position the chisel in the middle and hit it again 3 times. So I've basically broken the wood on either side. And then you chisel out from the middle. So if I hit down 3 times and then lever back, it's the same as what we did on the clock stand to make the chiseling out for this section. And you repeat the process until you get down to the depth that you require. Just be very careful. You don't want to dint the edges of the paintwork. So you just take your time to make sure that you don't lever back where the edge is. You lever back from the middle, so you don't damage the edges. I'm slicing down now just to tidy up all the edges. And then just make sure you go down to the depth you require. Now you've got to decide how far down you need to go. If you go too deep, I mean, you could potentially go all the way through at this point, but I wanted to stop towards the bottom because I'm interested in the depth of the switch. So from one point to the other, to make sure that it looks a little bit neater. So if you just take the switch and just keep checking the depth. So in a second, I'll just pick up the switch and just keep checking whether it fits or not. I want it to fit flat with all the way across. And see, it needs a bit of tidying up, maybe a little bit of filler and a bit of paint just to make it look neater. But I've gone deeper than the switch to give me some room. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tiny little panel pins and I'm just going to pin the switch in place, the sliding switch. There's 2 little holes. There's one there and there's one there, so you can locate exactly where you want it to be. This is a little bit fiddly, very small little gap to do it in. You might have to angle the panel pin slightly into the timber to make sure you get it into the timber. You just tack it on either side, which is more of a reason why you've got to be careful when you're chiseling not to damage the edges. Okay, it should be firmly in position. Let's have a look, and that is how to attach the switch ready for the electrics for the LED. Okay, thank you.